say, and I would love to have a Louisville guy on here, so if you know any good ones, Cam, send them my way. But I'm guessing now that you have a much better star running back than Louisville and a much better star wide receiver, and they've had a better defense, but I think the pendulum swung from what I know of Louisville's roster on defense. They've had really good NFL front sevens recently, but those guys have moved on, and they have some issues. You may have a better roster at this point than Louisville if you can replace the quarterback, and maybe that's what we go to next. Mark Richt talking about making the right choice in August toward week 1 at quarterback.
You know, Miami does have two guys at wide receiver and running back, just circling back on that point, in Mark Walton and Ahmad Richards, respectively, who, you know, are, if not the best in the conference, they're, you know, no lower than top 3 overall. So that's going to be one of the keys. The defensive front seven is nasty and it is deep, even with losing Gerald Willis for the season. He's taking a leave of absence for a personal reason that's not been disclosed. So I don't know what that is. I hope that he and his family are okay. But it came out this week that he is going to miss the entire 2017 season for the Miami Hurricanes. So that is a hit to the depth along defensive tackle, but there's still plenty of talent there. We can talk about that another time. But focusing on the quarterback position, yeah, that's going to be the key, obviously. You know, Mark Richt needs to find a quarterback. There needs to be a singular player there, I think, because you can't really have a rotation or anything at the quarterback position, which is the most important position in sports. And you don't have a long time to really get everything rolling, because week 3, September 16th, you're at Tallahassee against the Noles. And that's going to be a very good team that you're facing up against in Garnet and Gold. So, you know, whoever is wearing orange and green and white for the Hurricanes has to be on that from like early in the season. So, you know, there's not a lot of time to really handhold a new quarterback. And whoever the quarterback's going to be is going to be new, because Malik Rozier has started one game. That was that 2015 Duke game. He played the rest of that Clemson game after Brad Kaya got a concussion, but didn't do well at all. So you have a collective 1 start and 2 college. Well, no, Malik Rozier played backup in a few other games, but you're really talking 1 start and a handful of appearances at the position. Evan Shirriffs is a redshirt sophomore, a very cerebral kid, was valedictorian of his high school in Jefferson, Georgia a couple of years ago. He's in the battle with the co-number 1 with Malik Rozier coming out of spring. And then you have 2 true freshmen, Cade Weldon, son of Casey Weldon, who was coached by Mark Richt in his time at Florida State in the past. And then N'Kosi Perry from Ocala Vanguard, who, if you've been following these videos, I've spoken about frequently. 4-star recruit, was the 2015 Mr. Football for his classification in the state of Florida, He broke all of Dante Culpepper's high school records at Ocala Vanguard and did most of that as a senior, playing only maybe 2, maybe 3 quarters, because his team was so good they were blowing teams out that, I mean, there were several games that he didn't even come off the sideline in the second half. So, you know, there's 4 different guys who are in the battle. There's Vincent Testaverde, also Vinny Testaverde's son. He was a walk-on. If he plays, something went really, 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 really wrong at quarterback for Miami. But they're really looking at Rozier, Shirriffs, Perry, and Weldon being in that battle. And, you know, from all accounts, N'Kosi Perry is doing really great things during 7-on-7 and team-led practices, because the coaches cannot be out there with the players right now over the summer. They do have the ability to have meetings with their players for a couple of hours. You know, and Mark Richt, you know, he was asked about N'Kosi Perry specifically because, you know, people know these things. People have been following recruiting. This is an industry unto itself. So this is not an unknown kind of guy. But Mark Richt was quick to deflect and say, yeah, well, you know, whoever it is, you know, they're going to have to be able to make the right reads and control the game and not turn the ball over. And, you know, he's saying that Cade Weldon is as much a candidate for the starting position as N'Kosi Perry, which is great, you know, coach speak and PR and everything. I just don't believe that to be the case. Mark Richt did, however, say that he looks to make a decision after that second fall scrimmage in August. Fall camp opens on August the 1st. So maybe in that second week of August there is a time that he's looking to make a decision. And, you know, I've said for a long time that I want it to be N'Kosi Perry, and I do. I really honestly do. I think that he's the dynamic kind of athlete that we want. He was the #1 player on Mark Richt's recruiting board for this past recruiting class. He is a dynamic player and individual, and I think that he's the guy. And there's a couple of different ways it could go, where you could hand him the keys early and just let him ride from big game one, or you could, kind of phase him in, as it were, as the season goes on. But I don't know if it's going to be week 1. I don't know if it's going to be week 3, but near guarantee that before this season is out, N'Kosi Perry is going to be the starting quarterback. So, I mean, it would be nice if after that second fall scrimmage, Mark Richt says, hey, you know what? We're going to go with the freshman, number 5, N'Kosi Perry. He's the guy, and ride it out. If he's not 100% ready and it takes a couple of games for him to get into the flow of things to overtake that job, I think that that's fine as well. But regardless, N'Kosi Perry is going to play, or he's going to play in game 1. He's going to play in game 2. He's going to play in game 3. I don't know if he's going to be the first one in the game or if there's going to be a rotation, but I lean now, as with Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald, and Matt Porter of the Palm Beach Post, and Christian Cabrera-Chirinos of the Sun Sentinel, and Susan Miller-Degnan of the Miami Herald, and 247 Sports and other outlets. Everybody has put up a thing recently that says N'Kosi Perry is doing great things in some kind of prism for the quarterback position. It's going to be him. I don't know how soon it's going to be him, but I feel very confident saying that N'Kosi Perry is going to be the quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes before too long in the 2017 season.